Hello and welcome to an all-new Marvel Cast Explosion Network's hub of all things Marvel, a place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers Defenders to Destiny and Husk. My name is Ashley Hobley, your Omega-level host, and joining me today is Ultimate Ciaran Marchant.
Hi, it is I, bad wig and all.
And also joining us, the astonishing Dylan Blight.
What did you call yourself? No, what did you say you were? Level?
Omega level. The Omega level.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you not heard that every other time we've recorded
3 episodes
this?
in
Yeah,
to this
have you not heard
Rewatch
this?
series.
You said it every time.
Wasn't paying attention over to
Too busy trying to come up with a smart thing to say.
Shithead.
Failing. Alright, on today's episode we're talking about X-Men. First movie that kind of kicked off this cinematic universe. So yeah, let's just jump into it. Please be aware we'll be freely discussing anything and everything about plot themes in any of the movie. So if you haven't watched it, come back later. Of course, it is streaming on Disney Plus. So let's talk about X-Men.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now seeing the beginnings of another stage of human evolution.
The truth is that mutants are very real, and they are among us. We must know who they are, and above all, what they can do.
We're not what you think, not all of us.
Who are you people?
What kind of place is this?
I'm Professor Charles Xavier.
I built this school where mutants could learn to focus their powers in a positive way, and also learn that mankind was not evil, just uninformed. You'll be safe here from Magneto, a very powerful mutant who believes that a war is brewing between mutants and the rest of humanity.
And released July 14th, 2000. Directed by Bryan Singer. Screenplay by David Hayter. Yes, that David Hayter. Story by Tom DeSanto, Bryan Singer. Based on X-Men by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Starring Patrick Stewart, Hugh Jackamn, Ian McKellen, Halle Berry, Famke, Janssen, James Marsden, Bruce Davison, Rebecca Romijn-Stamos, Ray Park, and Anna Paquin. They are the children of the Atom. Homo superior. The next link in the chain of evolution. Each was born with a unique genetic mutation, which at puberty manifested itself into extraordinary powers. In a world filled with hate and prejudice, they are feared by those who cannot accept their differences. Led by Xavier, the X-Men fight to protect a world that fears them. They are locked in a battle with former colleague and friend Magneto, who believes humans and mutants should never coexist. Ciaran, do you remember the first time you saw the X-Men? Or X-Men?
Yeah, I was like a kid. When was this? 2001?
Just straight up 2000.
Just 2000? So I was like 6. So I do remember going to the movies to see this. And watching it in cinema. It was good. As a kid, like I watched the X-Men cartoons. It was good for the time. It was enjoyable at the time.
What was your first memory of seeing this movie, Dylan?
VHS cinema rip, I think.
Oh, I didn't know they did cinema rips during VHS times.
That early.
I thought it was DVDs only.
No, it was
swapped around.
VHS, yeah.
Shit.
Get those 2 VHS recorders. Taped it onto the other one.
Well, someone had the rip, and then I assumed someone recorded it, and it got passed around, and yeah. I really enjoyed it as a kid. Yeah, I mean, obviously Wolverine standout. That was I'm sure everyone just
that was major draw.
Fun. That was a major standout, and then I think Magneto and Xavier, Patrick Stewart, and Ian McKellen both had standout chemistry, even as a kid watching it. Like you see them, but I wouldn't say I loved it as much as like when you compare this to like Spider-Man around the same
Which came
time.
out like the next year.
I'd say Spider-Man. Yeah, I would say as a kid, Spider-Man was probably the standout of this. Like, if I was to compare them as like
of this era,
around the same time, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw this in cinemas. I don't know if I was like day one or
you were like 22.
It's like 13. No,
12.
12. 12 I would have been by this time. So yeah, Obviously loved it as a kid. Ciaran, what did you think of X-Men in the year 2024?
Yeah. I think it's a great cast, mostly, but was a victim of its time being like kind of trying to cut its teeth for superhero movies in general at the time. You could tell this movie's made without anybody kind of thinking that this was going to be this was going to be more than one movie, or this was made without much forethought of what's going to be past it. Because I think watching this movie, there are a number of plot holes or little details that they try and add here that you're supposed to be like, oh, cool, I know who that is, but then doesn't quite line up with the later movies in this trilogy. Yeah, I think Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, amazing in this. I think it's funny because it's funny looking back because I don't think the script's that great. I think the script's kind of crap in a lot of ways. I don't think the script in large makes much sense in certain conversations in terms of even just interactions between Professor X and Magneto. Like, I don't even think there's some of the even their initial interaction. You get the sense that their conversation is telling you that they're old friends and they've got history, but it isn't naturally doing that. Like, there's not naturally obvious chemistry between the two of them. I despise Rogue in this movie and in these trilogies with a passion. I loved Rogue from the animated series growing up. Absolutely adored Rogue. Adored who her character was, and I think even I think I didn't mesh with her as a kid, or even like growing up watching these movies. I didn't mesh with Rogue, and even like watching it now, I fucking hate Rogue. I just despise anytime she's on screen. I just feel like she's wasting such a great character. Not she, but like the script is wasting such a great character. I don't like what they've turned her into. I don't like her role in the whole trilogy as a whole as well. And maybe looking at that, it's kind of, you look back at this and you go, it kind of colors that. But I understand they couldn't include her whole skill set or abilities because
It's
convoluted and budget maybe, and a bunch of reasons. But I can't even see this character turning into the Rogue I love. Like, there's nothing about this character that I go, oh, okay, this is just the starting point of who she becomes when she's an adult. There's so much about her lines, there's so much about her delivery that I'm like, no, this is wrong. I think Hugh Jackman's amazing. This was Hugh Jackman's first big thing, right?
Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. All right.
What's the
word? I think overall this movie is a great starting point for the X-Men series. Is in kind of at the time where it was like tippy tapping. It's really funny watching this movie in order after First Class, because you kind of sit at the start and you go, oh, we're doing the Auschwitz scene or the concentration camp scene again now from Magneto. But of course, this was the first time it was done. I think it's an interesting thing, and you have to. That's the thing. That's the thing. I think retroactively, First Class makes this work worse because I love the professor, the Xavier and Magneto relationship in First Class and in those movies, and then it doesn't translate to here because it can't, because real life history and real life time, but it just doesn't translate, and there isn't that through line on these movies at all.
All right, Dylan, what do you think of the film on this rewatch?
It's fine. There's it's a testament of its early 2000 times. I would say. I think a lot of, if not most of the characters are highly unlikable. I don't even think Logan / Wolverine's like particularly likable, which, I mean, he's not supposed to be, but like, I think weirdly the best character in the movie is probably Magneto. And then so it drops off around him. I mean, Cyclops isn't interesting. Isn't interesting.
Cyclops just in general is not interesting, and maybe that's because I'm a Wolverine and Logan fanboy all my life. But he is
Team Logan.
Like I'm Team
the
Logan. Yeah, 100%. Because Scott Summers / Cyclops is the worst stick in the mud in all of comic books. He takes the fucking he's the worst.
I mean, Xavier is Professor X is cool, but he's not super interesting. Like he's got that factor of like of him being the guide and that sort of factor, but he's not particularly standout interesting character. Rogue is supposed to be our
entry point,
like audience entry point, but I'd agree that on this rewatch I'm just like, sure. Oh, I'm so trouble, help me. I was just like, I don't fucking care about you.
Like, it was just even the scene of like Logan finding her in the trailer, like she stuck away, and she's like pissed off with him. Like she's like, "What? You just gonna leave me out here? I saved your life." And I was like, "Wait, how did she save his life? Like, I don't." Sure.
She said, "Oh, he's gonna stab you."
Oh,
you get shot in the head.
I think the thing, like. The things that stood out to me was there's a coolness factor, I guess, an early 2000s coolness factor to a lot of like the look of the characters and the the way it's like edited and put together and whatever. Like I can see that early 2000 vibe that made it stand out and everything, in very early comic book vibe. But I don't think any of the characters are particularly done well. I think the story's fine, like just the general setup between Magneto's X-Men and Professor X's X-Men, or mutants on each side, I guess. And like this film's way of portraying the very core concept of X-Men within one film, I guess, works. I think the biggest thing that stood out for me though was just how bad the fight scenes or lack of fight scenes and just all of them are particularly badly choreographed and put together and everything. I think that was the thing that stood out to me the most. I don't think there was a good fight or action scene in this entire film. So it was fine. Like obviously I feel like if I was watching this for the first time now, it's definitely not going to, like, I wouldn't suggest someone in some 15-year-olds like, should I watch this? I'd be like, no, you're a good dude, but like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I don't think it has aged well. I think just the scale of it is very small compared to what we get to see nowadays with even First Class last week, where he's like the other week with the giant, all the missiles and everything, and like is a world traveling event. It's like we're just hanging around New York City. There's a train station, Statue of Liberty. It definitely feels like the script, a movie built from the climax of the film. Like, we got this big plan. There's going to be this device that Magneto is able to turn everybody else into mutants. So what mutants do we have in this film to make that justified? Rogue. But you can't be powerful in any way, because that would be because you just beat Magneto up. So, I think the movie still works as like the allegory for like outsiders and probably more specifically LGBTQ people, like being ostracized and stuff. And it's fun to think of the movie in that way, because then Magneto's major plan is just to make everybody gay.
Well, I think it's so interesting watching that, like the initial scene with Jean Grey talking in Congress and stuff. I look at that and go, you know what? This, but written in 2024, would go really hard, considering the state of America and the state of the world in terms of...
The saddest thing is they're going to make an X-Men movie, and because it's Disney, they're going to like
completely, it's going to be pretty bad.
Like, backing of why the X-Men were created in the first place.
And it's, you look at it and you go, well, this problem is even worse in many ways now than it ever was in 2000. So yeah, I think there's so much potential in this script and in this franchise and setting. You watch this and you see a lot wasted. A lot of wasted potential.
Yeah, I mean, the building blocks are there. Like, you've got Logan, you've got the school, which looks really cool. Cerebro that's a cool design, like bringing that to life. And even like just Xavier, like using Cerebro and like seeing all the mutants around the world and that kind of stuff. That was all very cool. Yeah, there are some interesting sequences and that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's all very far and few between. And yeah, like Dylan said, a lot of the characters are not very well explored or are just not presented in a very interesting way. I think, Storm, what accent was Halle Berry going for here? We can all be grateful she just dropped it, She dropped it like Kofi dropped the Jamaican accent. Bring back to wrestling. But yeah, I mean, the other thing, there's like it's like got this weird continuous injection of humor, like because Sabretooth is just shitty henchman. That
Sabretooth
like,
is horrible. Like, just this whole costume design is fucking awful.
He's had it rough since he forgot that Logan's his brother.
Yeah, they both got adamantium bullets to the head.
Yeah. Missed that.
Yeah, and then he grew sideburns. Really long sideburns.
So in my continued attempts to just be open to any and all fan theories, my Google search led me to a fan theory where people say, well, in this film, he's a lot more animalistic. He looks a lot more like an actual Sabretooth. He's given into more of his animal side. And it's helped him. It's made him forget stuff.
Sure.
Okay.
Or the other theory I saw, they're like, the thing that Beast has in First Class that makes him like speed up and turn more into a beast. Maybe he got some of that shit.
Could be.
Turn him more into a Sabretooth, yeah.
I don't think he's actually a Sabretooth. How do we feel about the costumes in this movie? Obviously, that was a big talking point because obviously they just go for militaristic or like very much uniforms rather than the individualized outfits that were the look of the X-Men at the time.
Magneto's fine.
I think
Professor X is fine.
I do think it gets too bogged down in wanting to be 2000s cool.
Mystique's fine.
So you're saying the enemy's fine? Just like
the ones who look like they usually do.
No.
Yeah, I'm talking about X-Men.
Yeah. So
no.
It's okay. I don't. I think we would be much worse off, and maybe not talking about X-Men anymore if they had have actually tried to get the comics accurate outfits in this film.
You know what? The thing that's to me, and I'm glad they ditched it over the years, is I actually hate the Wolverine hair.
I don't think the Wolverine hair doesn't work in real life.
Yeah, them trying to do the actual Wolverine like
spikes,
thing, like with spikes. I don't like it, and I much prefer, just him.
I think you know what? I think that is the one thing that the Wolverine Japan movie gets right. I actually really like his hair in that movie. I think his hair is.
I'm looking forward to us watching that, and then you telling me that's not as bad as you think.
It's probably going to be as bad as I think it is. Yeah,
we're gonna find out in a couple of weeks.
But
so.
How do you feel about Logan's introduction as well? I think they did a very solid job.
I was saying, I think he's like it's Logan, but I definitely feel like one thing that stands out between this and X-Men Origins Wolverine in this watching order, this is a better movie, sure, than X-Men Origins Wolverine. I think Wolverine as a character is so much better in
I don't think he quite gets I think maybe X-Men Origins is like, okay, he's had a while to work out who Wolverine is. I don't think for whatever reason,
just a grumpy fuck. And I know that's
yeah,
part of
that's the thing, right?
There's a balancing act to make him likable.
But the thing is, Wolverine. This doesn't feel like this is her. This feels like grumpy, for the sake of being grumpy and because hey, I'm being Logan, I'm grumpy. Whereas like normal Logan's is like the actual comic book Logan is grumpy, but he's grumpy because he doesn't give a fuck and he doesn't care and he just walks to the beat of his own drum. And there's a lot of this that is too much like it's like, okay, he's being Wolverine, but he's still trying to be cool instead of just being Wolverine is cool. So you don't have to try. You don't have to try and play it up and ham it up. And I don't think Hugh Jackman. Yeah, I think Hugh Jackman just takes a while to get into it and to get comfortable in the setting and into the character.
Well, yeah, I think they very much position him as the lead of the film, and rightly. So he has to be likable and do the likable things. Like go and get Rogue from the train station, and be kind of a dick to Cyclops.
No, well, normal Logan is more of a dick to Cyclops,
but not too much of a dick. It's like dickish stuff,
Way
like
more
stealing his motorcycle and trying to get with his girl. Anything else you guys want to talk about if we're going to be getting to?
Nah.
Nope. Okay.
No.
Ciaran, who was the mutant of the movie?
Magneto. I just think because Ian McKellen, the main difference between Magneto and Charles Xavier or Professor X in this movie that makes Magneto so much fucking better is Magneto is a flawed character and he's allowed to be flawed and he's allowed to be a character, whereas Xavier, especially in this movie, and I think movies in this trilogy, Xavier is treated too perfectly. He's not a character. He is this like perfect wise man. He doesn't have any flaws. Whereas we've already seen McAvoy is played like this great Charles that is flawed. That is like a human. That is a person himself. There's never that from Xavier anywhere through this movie, and I think Magneto gets that as a character. But then on top of it, they do that. And then on top of that, it's like they get Magneto's moveset really right. They get the character right, and I think that is makes him elevated amongst the cast in this movie.
Dylan, who's your mutant of the movie?
Yes, correct. Magneto.
Yeah, I have to agree. Magneto is the most interesting mutant in this movie. And I feel like they showcased his powers the best of anybody.
He's just a smug fuck, but you love him for it. Eh?
Just the way that he constantly kicks Sabretooth when he does dumb shit. Like when the senator escapes. Or no, when he drops the senator. And he just leaves him in that cage. It's fantastic.
Ian McKellen
Dylan, what's the
mastered the hand up doing thing motion. I think just hand up and you knew that shit was happening.
Yeah,
it's also crazy that at this
green
time
screen
he was doing Magneto, but then also doing Gandalf at the same time, and he was pulling them off both amazingly well.
You shall not pass.
Would this have been filmed after?
I don't know.
Wasn't Lord of the Rings 99, 2000-ish? Maybe 2001 was Lord of the Rings. But it's roughly the same time period.
I mean, Ian McKellen's in some of the biggest movies of the early 2000s.
Yeah, so this got filmed September to March September 99 to March 2000. Let me just quickly see Lord of the Rings, when did it actually film?
In New Zealand time.
Yeah, New Zealand time. October 99 to December 2000 before pickups. So, after spoilers for Lord of the Rings, after Gandalf gets taken out by the Power Rock, that's when he became Magneto.
Hell yeah.
I think that's what happened.
Go off.
Dylan, what's the most marvelous moment of X-Men?
I'm gonna go when Magneto is at the train station. He has the guns and the cops.
The guns?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. That's
Yeah.
pretty fantastic. Like visual, very
Yeah,
cool
it's the
special
best.
effects for the time.
Yeah. And I'm like saying this movie has I'm saying it has bad fight scenes and everything, and that's not a fight scene. It's just probably I think that's what makes it the best set piece of the movie.
Ciaran, do you have a different one?
No, I don't think so. I think I'd have to go with it. It is rough, these fight sequences. I do think as a generalized sequence, I don't really like it, but I think it was at the time Logan waking up in the mansion and like waking up underground and stuff. I think even though it's a bit unexplainable that why is Professor X fucking with Logan so much. Logan. Like what where you going? Where you going? Where you fucking going, idiot?
You want to fucking sandwich?
Like it doesn't make much sense why Xavier is fucking with him so much. But I think it's such a moment.
Fucking get a beer. There's one beer in the fucking fridge. You fucking.
All right, let us know what you thought of X-Men by letting us know on Twitter by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump to Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at All New Marvelcast, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. And you can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode or what we're doing here and think it's worth $1, head on over to our Cove page at explosion.com/support. All right, make sure you join us next week for another All New Marvelcast.